Today's portfolio review is Saryn Christina. Hopefully I said that right. Saryn is a beauty, fashion, and product photographer based in Los Angeles. Saryn has asked me to review her portfolio. Saryn, thank you. I look forward to it. Let's get into it. Before we do, some people have said some things to me personally that have blown my mind. And I want to read them to you. Okay, the comment I want to read is from Jose Juarez. Now I know Jose is not a bot because he made a comment on another video that actually made sense and was specific to that video. So Jose, thank you for checking out my work. Thank you for saying nice things. He says, good content. I have a feeling this channel is going to blow up with time. Well, wouldn't that be great? I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but boy, it's encouraging when people say things like this when you're starting something out. Back to Saryn. Okay, we need to look at Saryn's website and see if it loads quickly. Click. Okay, that's faster than my website. Well done. That is a fast load time. Beauty work is very centered on detail. When you look at beauty work, it's very important that hairs are not out of place. It's very important that shadows are just right. It's very important that skin has texture and that everything is crisp and sharp and just perfect. That's the whole purpose of beauty, is to create an elevated image that is eye-popping. Okay? So these pictures here of this woman, her skin is beautiful. There's nice texture. It looks natural. I like the lighting. It's crisp. She's done a really great job here. So going down, okay, we have another image. This one has a very different look. This one has a much more natural, soft look. You can see in the reflections in her eyes, there's a lot of bounce going on here. It's really trendy right now to leave the eyebrows a little bit wild, so she's doing it right there. There's a few hairs here I might clean up just because beauty photography, but it's not taken away from the image, so it's really not that big a deal. Okay, scrolling down, we have this woman. I like the color. I think the background might be benefited from also having some color, either something to complement or to mirror the color in her lips or in her skin. I don't know. It's a great image. I'm not too worried about it, but that's just one thing I might do to improve things. Going down, again, a little bit wild eyebrows. It's all the rage. Skin's clean. These ones don't feel quite as bright. I think maybe you could bring up the levels just a little bit, but again, that's probably just a matter of taste, and this is a beautiful shot, so I don't think it really matters. This is a very lively, bright image. The expression is bright, the lighting is bright. I've noticed that she's leaving moles on the skin, which I think is good because those are actually part of the person. It's different than a pimple. A pimple is just a temporary inflammation, and it goes away, and it's not really part of what the person looks like. But freckles, imperfections, things like that, those are part of who she is, and so I think it's valuable to leave that. But it also does another thing. It serves to make it look like, okay, well, if she left those two little bumps right there, this woman must have really had clean skin in real life. Otherwise, she would have just photoshopped those out. So I think leaving a couple of imperfections can actually add to the believability of the perfection of the complexion of the woman. That's a lot of shuns in one sentence. All right, down to this one. Now this one, I feel like this doesn't quite live up to those others. Maybe this is one that you did more early on in your career or something. It's not quite as crisp, doesn't feel quite as sharp, especially on the far eye. I mean, it looks like maybe you focused on this one, which is the right one to focus on. But in beauty work, we want everything in focus. We want it to, unless it's very blurry. Either way, we just want it to look deliberate. We want to know that you did on purpose what you did. The other thing that's really taking away from this image, in my opinion, is two things. The background, the saturation of the background, it's very saturated, and then when you hit up against the edge of this person, it just doesn't look like that was the original color back there. And the other thing is this hair. Her hair, it's not neat, it's not kempt, and it doesn't look deliberate. It looks like this was sort of a practice shot. This is something that you did without a stylist, and you were just trying to get your foot in the door and figure out how they do skin retouching. And you did a good job on the skin retouching, so maybe you were proud of it and you left it in. I don't know. But even here, this hair is kind of going every direction. I would either fill in this gap with some hair and then get rid of these little ones that are going against the grain, or I would just get rid of those little ones. Here you could mask off around the largest portion of the hair and give it a more clean edge. But ultimately, I think that based on what I've seen here and here and here and here and here, you could just do another photo shoot and do this good a job on that one and then replace this image entirely. I think that would be the number one way to strengthen at least this homepage of your portfolio here. This one's pretty. I think you've done the similar thing in the background here, giving it some color, but it's working a little better. It looks like you left a little bit of scraggle here in order to make it believable so it doesn't look too clipped. I think it might also benefit from being clipped. You'll still have these little loops, little teeny ones here that hint that it's not too perfect. But anyway, that would tighten it up a little bit and make it feel a little more commercial. But anyway, the skin, the woman, the lighting, it's very nice. So I think that's working just fine. These are good. Okay, and that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the other takeaway that I had after looking at this was I would like to see more. I don't know if there's only 8 rows of images. Most of the rows are 2 images from one shoot. I don't know if it's because you haven't shot more than this or if these just are the best ones and you've already curated it down and really tried to keep it tight. But I would probably like to see maybe 12 or 14 rows or more to show me that this is something you're well established in, you've been doing it a long time, and all of them are of this quality here. I think you've chosen the right one to have first. I think this is probably the best shot out of the whole thing. What you also want to do is have the first shot be the very best one, and then your second best shot should be your last one. And I think that the strength of these 2 is better than the strength of these 4 here. So I think that you're more or less ordering it correctly. There should be, and you might put this one at the end. I think this is really nice. You want people to enter with a good impression and leave with a good impression. So if there's something a little bit weaker, you'll put that in the middle, and that way they still have that good first and last impression to go from. Okay, let's look at product. Okay, we got some reflections. So all of this is by far good enough to be in a catalog or be used by companies, and this probably is for companies because I don't know why you would have this many bags in your closet. And if you do, you might consider in the future not buying any more bags and just sending me the money that you would have spent on the bags instead. That's my advice. Okay, the only thing that I saw here, there's a couple of things. They're just nitpicky things because this is, like I said, this is good work, especially ones like this. It's in a nice environment. I like that the background has like the shadow of one of those big fanny leaves on it. It gives it a really nice feeling like we're in a real place. This one, the only issue I have here is that some of the highlights are blown out. Some of the detail is getting really lost in the highlights, and this is the first image in your portfolio. Now, if you need this in your portfolio, I would recommend putting it down lower, or I would go find the raw file and see if you can bring back some detail on the tops of these. And then here in this stick, it's getting lost in the white background. It's just disappearing. So I know that this is nitpicky, but I want tone everywhere. A hallmark of professional work, unless it's really deliberate and it's adding to the image somehow, is to have detail in every corner of the image. And if you're losing detail, especially in the actual subject of your work, then that's going to become an issue and it'll actually make it look a little bit cheaper. So it's a good shot as far as the reflections and the geometry, but because this wall here is blown out and it's reflecting into the tops of these and I can't see the dimension, I'm feeling uncomfortable when I look at it. Unlike this one where there's information everywhere and it's just beautiful. Same with this one, there's information everywhere, it's beautiful, and so on. Most of your work is doing a good job at keeping the detail. So I would really look for that and make sure that you're doing that. The other thing that I noticed, most of them are really good. This one is really punchy. It's got a lot of life and color, and I'm totally comfortable with this image. This one feels a little bit dim to me. Now, if you were to brighten it up so that the faces of these bottles were more bright and lively like this one, you might lose detail in the soap or in these highlights here. It might ruin the softness of the gradient between the tones. But you can mask those things off. I think you've done a good job where I know how difficult it is to create good reflections on metallic surfaces in a product shot without getting your camera in the photo or having the metallic stuff just look all white or all black. So you've done a great job of that. I just really want to see, especially in these logos here, I mean, you really have to work to get those to look metal. But again, down where the text is, it's just looking a little bit dim, and I'd really like to see more life down on the actual bottles. So you could even just do a dodge layer, raise the levels on a curves layer, and then paint a highlight here down the middle where it's not metal. And I think that would give it more roundness and give me more of this feeling where there's a lot of dimension, because these are shiny in the first place. These have a more matte finish, but they can still use some soft rounding. And I'd like to see a little bit more of that there. So like this one is very bright and very punchy. This is nice and bright and punchy even on the face here where the text is. And so I would just make sure that you're consistently getting that across all of the images. Jewelry is also difficult. You have a lot of reflection. There's actual metal. There's, all of these pearls. And you really got to make sure you're not getting stray colors in there. And it looks like you're doing a good job of that. Good watches. Anyway, good product. In this category, it's obvious how much product work you've done. And I think that's really strong that you have so many images. I'm confident if I hired you for product work, I know exactly what I'm going to get because of the consistency of the look, the consistency of the quality, and it goes on and on and on. So I know you've been doing this a long time. Now, I would probably just take these two off. When I'm looking at your product category, I know I'm a hypocrite here because my product category has people in it. But these are the only ones, and so it's a little strange at the very end to just have these two. And then the way that the background is so bright and you're kind of losing some edges, and there's a little bit of light wrapping around and coming into the lens that I can sense. Yeah, because it's so dark and then so bright on the edges, it just doesn't feel quite as strong as a lot of this other stuff. So I would leave those off. Okay, so yeah, in your product category, you don't need people because you have a whole category right here just for that. This is beautiful. This is much better work than those pictures on the other category. I think this is that same model that you did the beauty shot with. Again, her hair is just not quite tight. I would clip right here and just take that right out. You can leave all these ones that are loose here. It's still going to look natural. But this right here doesn't look intentional, and maybe a little up here. On curly hair, it's a little more expected to see some of that, but this is styled work here, so this should be a little tighter. Again, looks great. Hair here. It's probably all from the same shoot, but maybe she changed her clothes and she pulled her shirt over her hair and then it got kind of crazy and then there was no stylist. I don't know. These are the things that I think, and if these are the things I think, this is probably also what somebody hiring you would think as well. This is a great model. What a smile. That's great. And then this one at the end here, I don't feel like this is as strong as the rest. The background looks fake. The darks, where it's dark on her arm, it's so dark, and this is just kind of weird. It's catching this yellow maybe from the background or from whatever Photoshop you did. I don't know. But this just looks kind of strange, so I would leave that one out. All these others are so much stronger, I don't think you need it. She's got a lot of ways to contact her, it looks like. That's good. Okay, let's go to contact me. Okay, cool. About, here she is. Very concise. I know that she's worked with some good brands. I know what she does. honestly, that's all I need to know. I don't need your artist statement. I don't need to know why you exist or whatever. I'm looking for someone to hire. This is commercial work. If you were selling prints and you're an artist, then it would make more sense to have a really elaborate artist statement. But right now, I'm just looking for somebody that can shoot my purses, and it looks like you can do it, and it looks like this is what you do. So it looks like I found the right person. All right, Saryn, nice work. Thanks for having me look at it. I was happy to do it. And I think with a few changes, just be mindful of your website. Keep it tight. It's absolutely fine to have the amount of work that you have. I think it's great to have a lot of work in your book. Just make sure that if there's a piece that's not living up in quality to the rest, just go do a shoot. Just go this weekend. Just go set up a photo shoot. Make some new work and replace those images, and it's just going to make things a lot stronger. And then I would continue also if you're looking to develop a stronger book, which I don't think you need to do necessarily. I mean, you're already industry standard. You're already doing great work. So if you want to make it stronger, I would set up maybe once a month or once a week if you're really ambitious, photo shoots just for you to experiment, to test, to try out new things, maybe try some color gels, maybe work with a different stylist, makeup artist, maybe try some other lighting you haven't done before. Just experiment. And that right there is really going to give you an opportunity to grow as an artist. So maybe you're already doing that. If so, keep it up. Otherwise, give that a shot. And I wish you the best. I think you're going to be just fine. To my viewers, if you would like your portfolio reviewed, leave your link in the comments below and I will take a look. I may not be able to make a video for your portfolio. I can only do so many, but I'll certainly take a look. If you like this video, like it. If you'd like to see more, subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified every time I come out with a new video, click the notification bell after you subscribe. I will have more content available this week.